Overlit once again. Hope everybody's good. Subscriber only mode is on. I made that mistake yesterday. I'm not turning that off ever again after a certain hour. It just gets a little weird. I mean, I guess I can turn it off, but we'll see. There we go. We got somebody in. How you doing? What's going on? Yeah, it just got a little weird yesterday. Uh, just after a certain hour, things just get very strange. What's up, guys? How you doing? And if you're not subscribed, you can subscribe. And then in 5 minutes, you'll be able to talk. Hey, Lily. Lily Eve said, hi, Eric. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Where are you located, Lily? What part of the world? I'm always interested in that. Uh, man, I gotta get some new lights in here. Like this place looks like a low key interrogation room. Like it's just so bright. Lily Eve said, I'm in Washington State. What's going on? Washington State, cool. Still have not been there, but I would like to go. That's where my illustrious moderator lives, SPTV Tattoo Warrior, or in the Pacific Northwest. I know you move around some. YRB said, it's fine. You don't need to have a television studio to have a reason to be online. Yes. One thing I've learned in the last couple of years, you do not need a reason to be online. Be online. Though on that note, so for the more political stuff I want to do, like I do want to set up like if you guys watch like Aaron Smith Levin or let's say on the political end like a Sam Cedar. Well, I don't have that kind of money yet, but I want to have some kind of at least like the desk with a some kind of interesting background, so I can do my politics. But this will do just fine till we get there. Um, we got 4 people in here. Appreciate you guys. So YouTube has this feature called GIFs, and I like it was just the reason I'm bringing it up is it just asked me if I wanted to enable it, so I was like, okay. And then I looked it up. It was so confusing to understand what it is. And after I read through it a bunch of times, it straight up sounded like money laundering. Like it didn't. The whole thing just sounds like real, like creepy. Um, YRB said, "I know a place where you can get old school room maps. You could have maps behind you." Hey, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, if you want, if it's not something you could put in the chat, or you can always shoot me an email. That sounds real interesting. My email is elevay at proton.me. So it's ELEVAI at proton.me. Because I'd be really interested in that. Yeah, because to do a political show like our or any show really, but a news show, I do need some kind of background. I picked up a green screen a while ago, so uh, courtesy of my moderator SPTV, she got it for me. So now we just have to get our setup. Um, I guess the good thing about going live this late, I mean, for me it's not super late, but for other people it is that there's fewer people who are live right now. So, I did take a look. I was kind of like listening to some live streams on the way home. Um, so I saw that Jessica Palmadessa was live. I saw William was live, or William was. I don't know if he was live, but they were like in Hollywood Boulevard. So that was cool. I can walk there, but like it gets a little bit like obviously like I live in that neighborhood. It just gets a little bit weird down there. So I only go down there every once in a while. Um, yeah, subscriber only mode on this thing, it's like a whole different thing. I think it probably does may not get your stream to as many people, but like when we turned it off even for a few seconds yesterday, it was just like noticeably interrupted like it was a good conversation that was going on and then immediately it got weird. So I guess that's kind of a balance that you have to strike. And my thing is if you're gonna get weird on my channel, at least be a subscriber, which is free. So if you're gonna get weird, subscribe and wait 5 minutes and then we'll go from there. But at least, there's gotta be you have to put in on this a little bit. You have to contribute, which you can do by subscribing. Um, I might end up turning it off actually for a bit. Yeah, otherwise not too much going on. I published a sort of like a satirical piece today. Well, not sort of, it is satirical on my Substack, which is I gotta figure out how to I have to figure out how to like put oh, okay. Anyway, it's in the comments section or it's in the it's just Eric Levai at Substack. So basically, like if you saw today, the CEO of United Health Group, which is the parent company of United Healthcare. Oh, here we go. Show all messages. Cool. So the CEO published this bullshit piece. That's what it was. It was complete bullshit at the New York Times. Um, just yeah, just bullshit. Like you can read it if you're a subscriber. If not, you didn't miss anything. Um, just about how he cares about healthcare and all this complete bullshit. So I wrote a satirical piece, which was basically like what the guy's really saying is don't kill me. Like that's like it was like an onion piece kind of because I started off in comedy writing. That's really what he's saying, right? Uh, so I wrote that and published it, and that was kind of fun to do some satire. It's been a while, so I put that out. Um, and then yeah, just working on some other pieces and building up this channel. We're gonna have the interview with Streets pretty soon. Film the Police LA, which I know I've been talking about for a while. It is going to happen finally. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right, let's see. It's a little bit quiet, so I'm going to I can answer any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to turn subscriber mode off and start praying. Start praying right away. Let's see, community. If there's anything anyone wants to talk about while it's still quiet, let me know. Otherwise, I'm about to unleash the floodgates. YRB said people seem to have skipped over the history of the French Revolution. I feel like I should know more about that. Like, there's definitely some gaps in my historical knowledge, but I know enough to know that what you're saying is people really do need to understand the French Revolution. Um, that all right, I'm gonna try it. All right, I'm opening the floodgates. Here we go. All right, we'll see what happens. Um, yeah, it's like that New York Times piece was so irritating because it's like I actually was wondering for a second. I was like, did AI write this? Because now people are. There's an old school movie with Steven Dorff. It was called The Gate. Have you guys ever seen that? It's like Steven Dorff as a kid. It's like 1986. Like their parents go away or something, which is, by the way, is like the subplot of every movie in that time period when the parents are out of town, and so they like find the gates to hell. Um, I just remember, what's up, AZ Crimson? AZ Crimson said good movie. Yeah, the gate was. I remember that was scary as a kid. Like I saw it later. Uh, Arby said that was the old let 'em eat cake era when peasants were starving to death and a few rich people just couldn't understand. Yeah, I mean, I was reading that we're talking about if people just coming in, we're just talking about this op-ed that this CEO of United Health Group published today. That's the parent company of United Healthcare, whose CEO was killed in New York, as you guys know. Um, like I don't even remember what the title was, but it was just like it was just so irritating. It was bullshit. It was like we're trying to fix this. It was like, dude, you're not. In fact, ProPublica published an awesome piece of investigative journalism today, which they had in the works already before the CEO was killed in New York, and it's about how they deny healthcare to children with autism. Like you just think you're like, can this get any lower? Nope. These companies can always get lower. Like just even reading that, I was walking around and I'm getting like more and more just like upset reading it. You know what I mean? Like they do great work over there at ProPublica. Um, that's a really vital piece of journalism. I'm sure in a rapid amount of time they're going to restore the health care of the young man who was the focus of that story, but it's about fixing the bigger problem. But anyway, just even just reading that was just very upsetting. Um, Danimal said, "Hey Eric, Danimal here. What's going on, man?" Yep, it was quick, guys. Like I said, we opened the floodgates, and it's going to get weird right away. Knives and pizza. Do you own any cool knives? I don't think so, but I'm going to guess you do because it's in your handle. I'm actually like really amazed when I watch some of these professional, like these live streamers, like just the like Jessica and the Jessica Palmadessa, that the amount of just what they have to deal with is mind-boggling to me. The volume of just things that are said to them on these channels. Um, what's up, Knives and Pizza? You own cool guitars. Appreciate that. Yeah. Like these professional streamers, that's like got to be. There was an article a while back about it was when some of the influencer stuff was just getting started, and it was about this guy who he was making like good money. I forget what kind of streamer he was. I think it might have been video games. But his life was it was like working like 14 hours a day. He would work out for 1 hour, he would sleep, and the rest was just it was like it sounded like Cartman in that episode of South Park where they're playing World of Warcraft. Like there was just nothing else to do. Um, appreciate you, man. Thanks for subbing. Um, YRB said capitalistic institutional eugenics. That's interesting. That's an interesting comment. Thanks for that. Um, I think it's something about going live after a certain time. Because, like, I don't know where you guys are located, and feel free to drop that in the chat where you are. I'm always interested in that. But, uh, like, I feel like a lot of people tune in from the East Coast, and if you're awake at 3:30 in the morning on the East Coast, like, you're probably up to something. Knives and Pizza said Vancouver Island. Cool. They film a lot of stuff up there. I mean, I remember because I'm in LA, I'm in Los Angeles. Danimal said Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Whoa, cool. I got a good buddy from there. A cat with news on Twitter. A journalist friend of mine, Sean Beckner Carmitchell. Make sure you follow him. Yeah, he's from Milwaukee. So shout out to Sean. I've never been to Vancouver or Milwaukee. There's a lot of places I need to go. No question about it. Knives and Pizza said Vancouver Island is just as expensive to live as California. It's outrageous. No kidding. I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, YRB said Jessica really does have a job and she works it. Yeah, that's like a full. In fact, I heard her say something like that because, as always, somebody in the comments had something to say, and she was like, It's 11 o'clock at night, and this is my job, and it's a lot, and it's way worse for women because if you guys like are just watching me for the first time, so like I've investigated a lot of online extremism and harassment and hate. And so obviously like it's always like way worse for women that just the way that is. And it's worse in the real world. Like when I've covered protests and stuff, um, like one time it's the first article I wrote in Rolling Stone about a protest in LA. At that protest, I didn't find this out till later, but this neo-Nazi ran up to me and he took my picture. Like that's like, ooh, like that's what these guys do. They just want to like scare you. And then he literally ran away before I could even have a reaction. But that same guy and his friends actually assaulted a female friend of mine who's a journalist at the same protest. But when he saw me, he ran. But with her, they attacked her because that's what these guys do. Um, and he's lucky that I wasn't there when that happened. They also like tend to wait till they wait till they think they can get away with something. Um, YRB said traveling and staying long enough to really understand the culture of the people you're visiting is an important mind expander. Yeah, that's a big thing, especially here in America, because there's a reason why that phrase goes around, the ugly American. It's like some people from here, they travel places, they don't have any experience traveling because it's not like in Europe, right? Where like, there's people travel more and you can drive to other countries in a way that's more we're, we have Canada and Mexico, right? But in Eastern Europe or other parts of Europe, they're used to traveling within the EU. So anyway, the point being is that sometimes people from this country go somewhere and they run wild, uh, and they get in trouble. And you don't want to ever be in trouble in a place where you don't know what the law is. Forrest Zone said I've had bad experience of American tourists, unfortunately. That's too bad. Where are you located? I'm just curious. Sorry to hear that. I'm not gonna lie, trying to see the flag emoji on my phone. It's so, it's so small here. Is that honestly I can't see it. It looks like maybe the UK, but I apologize. But no worries. Okay. Let's try to not use ableist slurs and things like that. That's not very cool. YRB said I have family members that I don't understand who have never traveled more than 20 miles away from their homes. Yeah, I know people like that. Mr. Warhammer said there is no Second Amendment in Africa. Well, that is true. Dreamy Days said hi. Well, hi back. How are you? I know someone asked if I can play I think you said ukulele, but I don't have a ukulele, but I am going to play some guitar, but not right now. Forrest Son said, to be honest, I think they mean well, but generally they don't understand that they're not in the US anymore. Yeah. We have different customs and ways of doing things that tourists tend to railroad. Yeah. Super important when I lived abroad. I lived in the Czech Republic and I was there for almost a year and you got to really learn to adapt, but you have to respect that it's not your country. You have to respect their laws, their customs. And that wasn't hard for me, but some Americans struggle with that. And some of them learn the hard way. The list goes on and on. I mean, I could go back. You guys remember Michael Fay? That's going way back. The kid who got caned in Singapore for he like vandalized a car. Uh, the poor kid in North Korea, Otto Warmbier. You know, there's a lot of names like that. AZ Crimson said, "I remember that." Yeah, that one's going way back. But Mr. Warhammer said, when Europeans go to Japan, they don't understand their culture either. Interesting. I have not been to Japan myself. Um, AZ Crimson said the days of Clinton. Yeah, yeah, it was a long time ago with Michael Fay. The government got involved. I think they tried to, but ultimately, uh, you know, they were not able to mediate, and he was, caned. I mean, um, Singapore is a strict country, uh, very strict. I heard they can cut your hair at the airport if it's too long. Like someone can. That's what I've heard. That's what they say. And I think your name is Rain. Said Japan is totally different from the U.S. I would love to go. There's a TV show called Tokyo Vice. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's actually about a reporter. It's the true story of a reporter, Jake, I forget his last name, but he was the first, I think, American to work at a Japanese newspaper because he had incredible Japanese language skills. And anyway, he's an expert on the Yakuza, on organized crime. It's a super interesting show. And just as a journalist, like watching that was fascinating to me. Their concept of journalism was like a little bit of a warning about what's happened in this country. And his show takes place, I think, in the 80s or the 90s. But as it's portrayed there, journalism is basically being a stenographer for powerful people, which is what it's the opposite. And then so he goes down a different road of actually doing the real work. Um, Force Zone, cool, said they visited Czech Republic for 2 weeks. Very similar to Britain with being reserved, but also straight spoken. Yeah. I had an incredible time. Being like 20 years old and having your own apartment with absolutely no supervision, pretty cool. I don't know what all the adults like the school and my parents were thinking, but I loved it. No supervision whatsoever. Cat Andy, hey Eric and chat. What's up, Cat Andy? How you doing? Thanks for joining. Fourth Son asks, what do I write about? So, uh, terrorism, uh, extremism, uh, domestic terrorism in the United States, um, neo Nazis. Um, I've also written about foreign intelligence, money laundering, like a pretty wide variety of topics. And somewhere in my links on this page, you could see I think I have a link to the complete portfolio, or if not, I'm happy to send it to you. Um, my email is elevay@proton.me, and anyone can always email me and I'll write back. Um, so yeah, I write about all kinds of stuff. And then uh, between that, because it's a tough field, and around that, so I've worked as an investigator in the public sector and the private sector. So uh, I've helped protect this country from political violence, from people who want to kill judges and uh, FBI agents and a lot of stuff. There's a piece on my Substack about a guy I stopped who was threatening to kill a lot of public officials, and now he's in jail um, because of me. Fourth, so I'll never tell. I wish. Mr. Warhammer said, what about reportive journalism like Center's insider trading? Yeah, that's super important. Um, I've written a little bit about stuff. I mean, that type of reporting is incredibly important because it's also bipartisan because both parties, you don't see this all the time, both parties are actively stealing and making money, insider trading. Um, it's totally insane that you can buy and sell stock in this country while serving elected in Congress when you have access to all this inside information. And it's about to get a whole lot worse. The level of the oligarchy is here, and the level of corruption next year is going to be unbelievable. But yeah, in general, to answer your question, insider trading is like that's a super interesting topic, and a lot of that stuff is public. You know, our elected officials do have to file some forms, and sometimes these scandals are right out in the open, and all you need is a computer. And if you want to get interested, if you're interested in getting started in reporting, you can look up lobbying reports. You can go to a website called Open Secrets, which is one of the best ones. And you can see, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of secret dealings, but that website has a lot of information. And and you can get a feel for who's giving money, at least publicly. Unfortunately, in this country, there's a lot of ways to hide the money. You can give to groups. The whole this country is like a slow moving kind of scam. Like maybe not that slow anymore. But this stuff is like totally like you can essentially launder money right now and give it in campaign financing, right? You can give it to organizations that will hide it basically for you, and then they give it, which literally is money laundering, but it's legal. So it's a corrupt country. The Rotten Apple said, "Yo, what's up? What's up, man? How's it going?" Rotten Apple said, "What are you doing?" I'm talking to you guys. That's what I'm doing. Rain said Biden gave a pardon to Hunter. I don't really much care too much about that, to be honest, but I know he did take a lot of heat because he said he wouldn't. So to me, there's like a lot of other things that are on my mind right now. So I don't know. I just don't particularly care about that. I'm very disappointed that he gave a pardon to the judge who literally sold kids for cash. If you guys saw that one, I don't know why they pardoned that guy. Uh, he was part of that scandal where they were sending these kids. It's been a while since I read about this, but I think they were sending them to for-profit, like prisons for young people. Absolutely reprehensible behavior. Um, why someone like that? And there was somebody else who got a pardon too that I don't know. Really sad. Forstone said, I'll have to give it a look. International studies is part of my degree, and I've taken a few security studies. Oh, cool. Yeah, if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out. Like I said, working in the investigative area, I've worked on a lot of security stuff. So, especially when I worked at the think tank out in DC. Um, Jeff said legal slow moving scam. Yeah, I was trying to explain that, but it's so late. My mind is moving slower. Mr. Warhammer said, when the rich rob from the poor, they call it business. Well said. Very well said. Forstone said the rest of the Five Eyes are going to keep U.S. agencies on a strict need to know basis. Bingo. They have to. They have to because they know that the administration that's coming in will buy and sell secrets, will give them away just to act cool. We know that. They're in a really bad spot. I mean, and people don't know the Five Eyes are a group of 5 countries. I always forget one of them, by the way. It's the US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada who agreed to never spy on each other, but to share information to help each other. They're not going to be able to do that because the oncoming administration can't be trusted. They can't be trusted with information with people, if they confirm Cash Patel and people like that who are a national security disaster, you know. So they're going to have to hide information. Uh, Bad spot to be in. Ron Apple said, I hate humans. Ashamed to be one. Well, Kind of reminds me of like that Zodiac movie. Didn't he say something like that? The David Fincher movie. YRB said my father. By the way, if you're wondering why do I read the comments, it's because on the replay, or why do I read it like that until the chat shows up? It's super annoying when people watch it on the replay. So I'm trying to not annoy them. YRB said my father used to have a general rule: never buy anything that was advertised on TV. Cool. That's tough though, because everything's advertised. Like at least in the United States, there's only two countries in the entire world, by the way, that advertise pharmaceuticals on television. It's the United States, and I think the other one is New Zealand. I could be wrong about that. Never and Aaron said, will you be busy this Sunday? There's a stand-up comedy show at Flappers in Burbank. Cool. I'll look into that. It's been a while since I've been to a stand-up show. Jimbo Yep said, is Patel bad? Yeah, in my opinion, Patel is bad because he's insane and he'll be at the head of the FBI. So yeah, I would say that's bad. We'll see if he gets confirmed though. Adolf is here, said hello. Hello back. John Z said, but the new administration knows all about apprentices. What could go wrong? Yeah, I was talking yesterday about how like I'm in Los Angeles and how I feel this town owes a debt because it's this town that helped create this problem we're in because they sold, I mean, it was Mark Burnett, it was a specific group of people, but I'm talking about Hollywood sold this image that had a ripple effect, like that Bradbury story where remember where he steps on the butterfly and it has this ripple effect through time? This TV show ended up having that kind of ripple effect that's been a catastrophe for humanity. So that's what I mean about that. John said, never buy, not even the sham. Wow. Scooter Mom said, hi, Eric. Canada does now too. I think you mean like advertising drugs. Yeah. But they're not allowed to tell you what the drug is for. Huh. Some commercials here are like that. Like, that's what's like funny about some of the pharmaceutical ads, like the ones where they're like, it's so crazy how they're like, they can sell the ad, but then they're like prudish, because that's another part of this country, right? Like America, it's some of the Puritan, some all that stuff where they're like about sex and stuff, where they're really like, ooh, and it's like, so like for these commercials, it'll show like a couple fishing or something, and you're like, what the fuck are you like? What are you doing? Like what? That's how they sell these drugs. Like, um, it's just like so weird. Uh, John Z said Beatles or Rolling Stones. Ooh, that's a tough one. Um, I don't know, man. I got to think about that one. Mr. Warmer said we can't trust our own government. What's happening in New Jersey with the drones? I'm kind of out of the loop on that. I actually have to be honest. I'm totally out of the loop on that story. But as a New Jersey native, I would like to find out what's going on there. Jefferson said, what is the time there? I'm actually not sure what the time is here now. It's a little past midnight, I think. It was Friday the 13th for like 20 minutes on this stream. I have a good Friday the 13th story, by the way. I once, no joke, camped out overnight on a class trip where the movie Friday the 13th was filmed, the first one, the actual Camp Crystal Lake. They took us there on a class trip. They did not tell us, or they didn't realize. And then sometime in the middle of the night, my friend figured it out. He was like, this is where that movie was filmed. Imagine how that went for a class trip of a group of like 10-year-olds. It was super scary. It's in South Jersey. It's called Camp, I forget. Somebody here knows. And she said, have you considered making your guitars on the wall as your backdrop? You mean for the TV show we were talking about? That'd be interesting. I think I might go, I need some kind of like painting or something, or I need something that represents, because I want to do like more of a political thing. So like, I have to think of something that represents what I'm trying to do. And then I need to not overthink it too much, which is historically a problem. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe, please. Thank you. It's been quiet. Oh, what time is it? Oh, 12:22. It's been kind of quiet lately in terms of covering live events, like covering protests, and I mean that's going to change, I think, pretty quick. But Never Aaron said, "Aren't you friends with Film the Police LA?" Yes, that's my man, and I appreciate you coming into my channel. So yeah, so for people who don't know, so Film the Police LA is a cop watcher here in Los Angeles. He's the biggest activist, I think, in this city, just which is a big deal. I mean, this is a city that has a lot of activism, a lot of going on. So, yeah, I'm proud to call him a friend. We've been friends since around 2020, um, when a lot of us started set off on a different path than I think we were on before. A lot of things changed that year. And so, yeah, if you guys aren't following him, Film the Police LA. And then he has another channel called Scientology Audit or Streets LA. He's a great guy. Tyler Durden asked me to play. I would love to play. I'm not going to play right now, but I am going to play on a stream soon. I played at the Viper Room 2 times in the last couple months with Lara FM, who's a activist and a really good musician. So I'm working on some new songs that I'm going to debut right here. Rip some Skinner, it's simple, man. Yeah, I will. I will. I'm not going to do it now, but I will. It's a good song. Tragedy about that band. You know the plane that crashed, which killed Ronnie Van Zant and I think a few other members of the band. You know, they tried to sell that same plane to Aerosmith like a couple months before that. And Aerosmith's pilot, you know, who worked for them, when he checked it out, it's in their autobiography. When he checked it out, he got a really bad feeling, like just the way that they were acting, the other pilots and the whole thing. And he was like, we're not flying with these people. We're not doing business with these people. That's a sad story. AZ Crimson said I have a music video for Will. Cool. You got to send it to him. You definitely send it to him. I think he has an email on his page, right? I'm pretty sure he puts contact info up. Cat Annie said you're going to Shrine Auditorium tomorrow, or technically today. Yeah, something's going on there. I apologize. I've been working a lot and I'm a little out of the loop. Is there some kind of award show or what's something crazy's going on there? Tyler Dern said, I'm going to sub just because I need to see. Appreciate that. Now, now I got to hold me to it. Buddy said, what state are you in? California. Los Angeles, California. Aaron said, haven't seen a cat with news in a while. We were just talking about him. He moved to Chicago, but he's doing great. And we're still working the same beat. Excuse me. But now he's going to be working in a different city. Plenty of work to do in Chicago. AZ Crimson said, I've seen him. Cool, I'll have to subscribe to your channel so I can see it too. I'll do that after the stream. And John Z said, the crash that killed Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper didn't have enough room for all the musicians, so they flipped a coin. That's right. And Waylon Jennings lost and had to drive. You know who else? Wasn't there someone else involved in that? Dion, that famous musician Dion. I'm almost positive that he was there that night. And we lost Richie Valens too. What a talent from where I'm, this area. I think he's from Pacoima. By the way, that is the best music biopic ever made, La Bamba. That's the best one. Like that genre got really popular years later, and there's been a lot of movies about musicians. But show me one that topped La Bamba. I don't think so. Cat Annie said Scientology is filming their New Year's Eve event there. Oh my gosh. I have something to do tomorrow night, but let me see what the hours are. And Arturo said, yeah, Richie Valens, exactly. He was only like 21. It's so tragic. YRB, I prefer acoustic. Yeah, I mean, I like amplifying an acoustic, but yeah, in general, I like to write on acoustic. Arturo said, Aaliyah did not want to fly that day because she was dehydrated. No, I didn't know that. Another sad story. A big talent. Yeah, man. Remember that scene in Almost Famous where the plane's about to go down and they all start being honest because they think they're all probably going to die. And then the plane kind of settles out and it's like, oh, oops. I remember meeting, I think it's Esai Morales, is that how you say it? Who played Richie Valens' brother. I met him when I worked at Starbucks, when I worked at the Starbucks in Beverly Hills, and all these celebrities were coming. Super nice guy. It was really hard to not do the Richie scene like right there, because that's absolutely the kind of thing I would have done. But, you know, I didn't do it. John C. said, Lou Diamond, I like more in Young Guns. That was a great movie. Talk about a great movie. Like I went back and watched that and I was like, man, like this was really a really great movie. Like Uh, a little bit over the top in parts, but I mean, it actually like it even like had a point. Historically accurate, like I think I've read a lot about Billy the Kid, and I think they actually did capture a kind of like, in essence, or whatever word you want to use. I don't know how historically accurate all of it was, but Billy the Kid is a fascinating character, a really fascinating historical figure. Billy the Kid was also fluent in Spanish. In fact, most reports say he spoke it basically at it was unusual at that time, and there was just a lot of interesting things about him. Also, he could read and write at a much better level than most people could. Um, he was, highly intelligent. Susanna said, am I in the EU? No, I'm in Los Angeles, California. I like the end of the movie, John. I mean, that scene was great too. I mean, that movie actually had a message, like, the last line, pals, that was a cool message. Susanna said, I'm in Spain. Cool. Another place I have not been, but I need to go. John said, regulators mount up. What time is it in Spain, by the way? I'm just curious. I've traveled quite a bit, but there's so many places I haven't been. Uh, Siesta time. It's 9:32. Cool. Arturo said in Chicago it's 2:33 a.m. Yeah, in the morning, Suzanne, exactly. I called my friend earlier who lives in Australia, and I always have to like remember, basically, like whenever we talk, it's either super late here or it's the other way around, but it's just that huge difference. It's like 10 hours. John asked, what's your favorite Western movie? Wow. It might be Young Guns, John, or maybe Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman. That's an amazing movie. Yeah, one of those two. Tombstone, I was just going to say, is another great one. Tombstone was great. Susanna said, I love Casino. Yep, that's a great movie. Casino is a great movie. Martin Scorsese. It's been a while since I've been to Las Vegas. Like a real too long. I need to get back there. John said Taxi Driver. Incredible movie. I mean that trio, the way they work together, Scorsese, Paul Schrader, and De Niro, like unbelievable. Arturo said Goodfellas, 100%, one of my favorite movies. Uh, how he, the fact that they did not give Best Picture to him shows you what sort of like what a joke the Oscars are. Because they gave it to him years later, right? For like, was it The Aviator or was it The Departed? Like whatever it was not as good as Goodfellas. Um, I mean, Taxi Driver is just unbelievable. And Goodfellas is a masterpiece, right? There's like good movies, and then there's a masterpiece, and that's what it is. Um, and like Departed was good, but I mean, it's not Goodfellas. Like, no. Arturo said Pulp Fiction. Yep, one of the best movies ever made in L.A. I think. Like, there's obviously many movies made here. Uh, Carlos said Taxi Driver is pretentious. Different different opinions is fine. I like it. I'm gonna tap out in a second. I need to watch some of Narcos, which I do every night before I go to bed. Even though I've seen Narcos like I don't know how many times, it's like a ritual. I'll just watch some of it and fall asleep. Seems weird to fall asleep to a show like that, which is violent and disturbing, but I don't know. Maybe I'm desensitized. Trust me, when you cover like terrorism and violence and stuff for the past like 9 years, your mind becomes a little different. Carlos said I like Nicholson's performance. I agree. I was just hearing a funny story about Nicholson where uh, I think I forget the actor's name, but he's also in Shawshank Redemption and he was in Departed. And it was just this long story where this, the short version is the script, when he was in Departed, like he had this scene that he really loved and it was slowly getting smaller and the script was changing every time he would get these new drafts and he's getting more and more upset. He's like, what's happening? And then later, basically, what it turned out was that Jack Nicholson was rewriting parts of the script, and Scorsese was just quietly letting him doing it, but not filming it. It was just one of those things where he was kind of like placating him because he's Jack Nicholson. And Scorsese was like, "Don't worry about that. We're gonna shoot the as is. We're just kind of like it's like a kid, you know. You're just kind of like letting them think they have, I guess, the power or whatever." So it's a funny story. Um, Suzanne asked, "What time is it in LA?" It's 12:38 a.m. John said the feds are like mushrooms line. I've got some pretty good Fed stories from my work as an investigator and sometimes as a journalist. Uh, it's like anything else. There's some good ones and then there's some exceedingly bad ones. But Helium, I don't know who that YouTuber is, but I'll be sure to check him out. I think I'm going to tap out, y'all. Thanks for it was good talking to you. You can like, comment, and subscribe. And if you just came in and you're like, who is this random guy? My name's Eric. I'm a reporter and an open source intelligence investigator. And you can check out my Substack and subscribe for free. And you can check out, you're welcome, Arturo, you too. You can check out my journalism in Rolling Stone and in Daily Dot and a bunch of other places. Appreciate you guys. Be well, be safe. We'll talk soon.